This is Listening with Franklin Livingston, and our guest is Marty Whittle.
You made a transition into your early teenagers while you were in
boarding school at Kent.
Boarding school.
Yeah.
And how was that? Who was your support group, or what were the challenges? Because you recently lost your mom now,
Right.
which is very
It was
sad.
hard. I didn't really I didn't fit in with the preppies in boarding school. I really didn't at all.
Who were the preppies?
Oh, the kids that had a lot of money, or the kids who thought they had a lot of money, or just again, it was just a matter of not fitting in.
Snoopy.
And I had an English accent, so they all wanted me to say something in English. And I'm like,
They knew that you were from the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was just a novelty to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to lose the American accent, and then had to lose the English accent.
Great. But can you switch to both? If you were to play a British role?
Sort of, yes, if I can.
Sort of.
Yes.
Okay.
tend to either go a bit too cockney or too noble,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was hard again. And I had friends that were usually the ones that didn't fit in too, and they were the ones that got kicked out. So it just it was tough. I really hated it there. It was 4 years of hell, and they asked me for money. I'm just laughing. I'm like, you're kidding me. Really, I paid my dues, but I got a good education. I can't complain. My poor.
How many years was it?
4 years.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I feel bad. My father spent an arm and a leg to send me there. I'm not being ungrateful, father, but it was hard. It was really hard. But the riding program was wonderful, so that saved me again. Horses seemed to save me in my whole life. That was great. I got to ride a bunch of different types, and I'm good at understanding horses that are a little bit crazy, and so they willingly gave me these guys, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. So that was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. And then from there, I went to Skidmore, and I loved it there. That was a great school. I studied art, because they couldn't. My father didn't want me to go study. There are places that you can study, equestrian studies, but it's really not to knock them. That's not fair. They're great, but my trainer told me, if you really want to go into this business, if you're crazy enough to do it, save your money for that. Go to a proper liberal arts school or whatever, and work with a really good professional instead. And that was the best advice I got. So I worked with some really good riders and trainers and watched them, a lot of hands-on, a lot of work, but it was great. That was the best way. And, I know what a colic is. It's not on page 36. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, you really have to have hands-on with horses to know. I do anyway, to get it to sink in and to know what to do. And training, you never stop learning anyway.
Right.
But that was a great experience to work with some of the trainers that I did. I enjoyed that. Yeah, because my artwork, I wrote kids' books and illustrated them, but never carried on with that. So I was too busy writing. So so it goes.
So in that culture or time, what was the most challenging thing for kids of your age, especially females?
That's a good question. Well, trying to decide what to do with my life afterwards, and it was still, and maybe it's just my perspective, but I got an impression of kids going to college just to get their MRS, to get married, as opposed to now it's so much more, the careers are thought, for women.
So if you had gone to college, then you have better suitors, to use that word.
Yeah, I guess so. Right.
Word.
Yeah. There you go. Right. Yeah. The pickings are better.
Yeah. So,
although Skidmore was all girls until 61, and a lot of the guys that went there after that were in theater and dance, and they really weren't interested in me. In that sort of, we were good friends, really good friends. But
when I say challenges, I also want to know, say, drugs or over-sexualization of culture, like some of our kids struggle with that nowadays.
Yeah, it was not, I didn't feel it. I really didn't feel it. There was drinking and partying, but I never felt like there was pressure for anything hard, like heroin or coke or anything like that. Mind you, I graduated in 1980, so the Coke kind of came after 84. That kind of came in with that. That I could never afford it anyway.
So both the countries, like even in the U.S., that wasn't the pressure then.
No, I didn't feel.
Oh.
I didn't feel it. I really didn't. I was very busy too, and I, I was at the barn all the time. So, but I drank and I partied with him, and I smoked pot. Got high and all that good stuff. So that was fun. But I didn't feel pressure to do more, or anything like that. So that was good. I look at a lot of the stuff the kids get presented with today. I don't know. That's so hard. And then forget social media.
Yeah.
That's nuts. It's nuts. That can be so toxic. It's crazy. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, thank God it. Yeah. So I can't really say that we had much to complain about when I look at it.
That's great.
Really,
Yeah.
truly, just the pains of growing up.
Yeah.
Those are everyday pains, but it was good.
So one thing, this feeling, and some of us, including me, have been a victim of this situation, I'm going to call it, where you have your classmates who have wealth, just like unlimited wealth, that has been given to them by their parents or grandparents, and they are in teenage, but still have tons of things at their discretion. And here I am, who doesn't have that. Okay, we are from middle class, but we don't have that kind of money.
Right.
So that feeling of not being entitled sometimes would get me. So what about you? Did you ever have that situation when you say you didn't fit in?
Right.
Did it have to do the same money
Definitely,
issue?
yeah, because
or-
we weren't going to Martha's Vineyard for the summer. We weren't, going down to Florida in the winter, that kind of thing. We never went on vacations, actually. I can remember. My father had 5 kids. He put us all through college. He spent his money other ways and getting us all educated. So yeah, I never fit in. I never understood that. I'm like, wow, they're going, or they had houses in Martha's Vineyard. They had houses down in Boca Raton, And what bothered me was one of the ones that had
when
the
you
horses.
say bothered, was it more like, I wish I had that too, or bothered means, why do you need that?
Yeah, well, at the time it was more like I wish, like there were some kids who had really nice horses and they wouldn't ride them, and they wouldn't come up, or they were scared of them, or whatever, and that drove me crazy because I'm like, you've got this beautiful horse, and you don't, you're going flirting with this guy or something like that instead. So that bothered me when I saw, or they be able to go down to Florida and show all winter, or do things like that, or come back in the summer and show.
So how did you find your solace or peace or contentment, if you will, in that stage in life?
I just rode. It was great. It was
To get out your
the
frustration and
yeah,
anger?
I'd run to the barn
okay.
to get that out,
Yeah.
and then get on and ride. Yeah, because it was only it was only like a mile and a half from the school, because the girls was up there. But yeah, the frustration, I would just work hard with it, just try and work it out, because I just I couldn't see another way. It just what can you do at that age? I was frustrated. I wanted to get out of the school. Had to get good grades, so I just worked my ass off to do that. Thinking it would all be better when I graduated, which it was better to a certain extent, but then you got more school, I was just looking forward to the day I could just get out and start doing what I wanted to do,
Because I think one of the things I have learned in life is no one is going to help you in those situations.
Yep.
It's you who
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
compassionate to yourself.
Right.
And if you can't do anything, or if you don't have anything at your access, then you can just go out for a walk.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And if you have a gym, just try it. And
Yeah.
it's trying. It's hard sometimes. I think you don't want to work out, or
Yeah.
you don't want to leave your apartment or bed. But if you don't do it, no one else will do
Right.
it.
Move a muscle, change your mind.
Yeah.
You gotta get out there and do
It's great
stuff.
that you found your escape,
Mhm.
and that was therapeutic.
Oh, really was. Has been always. Yep, even now. So it's great stuff.
Mhm. So, what about your interest now, this love life or dating and all that?
Well, like I say, it was hard because we'd have dances, with the boys' school.
Oh,
Or
wait. Dances where you, I don't remember the technical term, but you wear long dresses and.
Oh, they don't have to be long, but yeah,
Oh.
short was in. So you
Short
get a
was in,
short
okay,
was in.
okay.
So short as you could get away with. Yep.
But the rhythm, was it like bum 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 bum? I even forgot, like where, like in classic movies you
Right,
see.
yeah.
And a
No, it
gentleman will-
wasn't anything like
Okay,
that. No, it was
that's
rock
too
and
old?
roll. Yeah,
That's like 200 years old.
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm
That's
talking
way
about.
older. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They don't do that. It was just rock and roll and stuff like that. So and dancing like that. It was a little bit before disco came in, but so we go down for the dances and just sort of. But again, I had guys that were friends on the riding team that I didn't really. It wasn't any love life involved when I was in high school. When I was in college, it was more so, but not high school.
Were you interested in developing a romantic relationship because you did not have a mom,
Yeah.
or that didn't really affect you when you were geared toward?
The riding, yeah, it didn't really affect me. Yeah, I just was focused on being riding better.
Okay.
Yep.
So, but you did eventually get into the relationships.
Oh yeah. Well, I dated. No, I didn't really date in high school because you couldn't.
No, later.
Yeah. Oh, in
Yeah,
college. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. No, and I did, and I ended up dating a gentleman who went to Hamilton, which is further over in New York State, and we got married and got divorced. But yeah. So that was, I don't know. It's like something I felt like I had to do. It was weird. We were together for 7 years, but living on and off together. And when we really got married and lived together, it just didn't. It just dissolved.
That's hard because that's what I have learned about some people, that they can be great boyfriend, girlfriend, or
Right, yeah.
or friends. My best friend. I'm gonna marry my best
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, right.
But you don't get to see that person that close when you share a space.
Yeah.
And you come across their habits and the treatment you give and you
Well, yeah,
receive. That's a
exactly.
whole different world.
It is a whole different world.
Yeah.
Like communication, or
Yeah.
just, and then he'd go out for like weeks, work in Rhode Island at a boys' camp. They'd take kids from the city and bring them out to the country. And so he'd be gone all the time. It's like, this is not my idea of married life at all. And then when he come back, it was like, it's just.
You didn't
Yeah.
talk about that before that?
Yeah, no, it was just, yeah. It was,
it
he
more
wasn't sure that he was going to do that.
like-
He was going to work more towards being like a professor. He's very smart, more towards medicine, and then got involved in this sort of psychological aspect of helping these kids. And so, yeah, it just evolved that way, and I evolved the other way, and it just didn't work. So it was only like a year. But, so that's the way that went. And then after that, I met a gentleman through riding, and we got married again. So, and then that that kind of went south too after 10 years. How fast forward are we going on this? But I'm married again now, and this one's a keeper. Thank God. So, oh Lord.
So the second one,
Yeah.
you met through writing.
Yeah, through
What
riding.
went
Yep.
wrong there?
Really good friends. What went wrong there was I started drinking and really became an alcoholic, actually. And I'm sober now. But I could see that was a big reason for that marriage going. And of course, he was not being true, honest 100%. With he was screwing around with some people. And so, which I'm sure was probably a result of whatever. I'm not blaming anybody for whatever it had transpired. But I got sober and he left. So, it's the way that went. Actually, I got sober before we got divorced, and that was a crusher. That almost pushed me back, which just kind of reminds me of your film, The Neighbors, where, it takes something dramatic like that to make you want to stop and really, because I didn't want to stop. I didn't think I had a problem. That's how it goes. But it really, they say get sober for yourself. Don't get sober for anybody else, which is what I did. I got sober for us, and then when he left, it was like but it's I'm with AA. Alcoholics Anonymous is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm not supposed to really promote them, but for anybody who I love it. I mean, I go every morning to a meeting and meet my friends, and it's an incredible experience. It's a fellowship like nothing I've ever seen or been a part of. And I don't do groups, I don't like groups. I don't like groups, but this is a fellowship, and that's a whole different thing. So
I think that was missing in my character in the movie, because in my character, when he gets depressed, he just become an alcoholic, but he doesn't have a support group or someone being accountable to.
Right. Well, that's it too. Absolutely. Yep.
And when Penny gets killed, then he's questioning that. What does he know about Penny? Is it something in his head, or Penny was a real person? It's very confusing.
Right.
What was real and what was not, because your sense of judgment, I think, gets. You can speak to that more. That does your sense of discernment or judgment in that moment or in that phase becomes distorted, or it's not right? What happened? What's a dream and what's real when you were an alcoholic?
Right. No, I just was living merrily along, but apparently people didn't like it. So I was highly encouraged to go. It's so sneaky. It's sneaky. I didn't think, I just thought I drank a lot. I didn't think I drank too much, but apparently.
But too much means, can you get to a point where you're
just delusional.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah,
you're living a life that ain't real. Yeah. There you go. My horses didn't like it at all. No.
That's because there's a scene, and I know the first cinematographer asked me a question. I think we closed it down and then we started. And he probably asked me that question because he wasn't making that connection. Because there's a scene, we don't know it happened or not. We don't know because it's through the eyes of the character.
Yeah.
And it happened, or it was in his head, right?
Right.
And the guy who wrote it, actually, he reviewed my recent movie, right? And I read under his YouTube, he posted a video there on his YouTube, and he said, "Oh, my friend's complex." And I love that complex drama.
Yeah.
Because I think movies should be a little bit complex. Or that's my style.
I like it. I like it to be, instead of just having it on the plate. Right. Yeah. No, I like it. That makes you think a little.
Yeah.
And a twist, that's key. That's really key.
Yeah. There is somebody did say, "Oh my God, I wasn't expecting this." And same thing, this guy who reviewed it, and he said, "Oh, there was a twist I wasn't expecting in the current one because it has like 5 themes." And but in The Neighbor, you play the villain.
Yes.
So you want to talk about your role, Valerie?
I like villains. Villains are fun. Yeah, that's neat. It's unfortunately, child trafficking is really serious. It's scary. But I always enjoy working with you, and it was great. It was fun to do. It was really fun to do.
Yeah, it's in the editing, and hopefully sooner than later it'll be out.
Excellent.
And then we'll get to celebrate.
Yay.
And so that's The Neighbor. So you still go to a group meeting.
Yep.
And but you're not an alcoholic.
Oh, I'm an alcoholic, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's why I go.
Right, but
so I stay away.
Oh, great, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's recognizing that I was.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's a humble place to be in.
God,
recognizing, because a lot of us don't recognize.
Oh no,
right?
and I grew up with that's anybody who's an alcoholic is a loser, and low moral.
Just a shame.
Yeah, just terrible. Yeah, terrible. And I remember once seeing a Easy Does It bumper sticker, and it's a logo of AA. And I asked my dad, I'm like, "That's kind of cool. What is that from?" "Oh, it's from those poor AA people." And I'm like, I'd laugh like hell, going, "Yeah, but I am so blessed," because we were talking about religion before, and when I married Tony, my second husband, he was Jewish, and I converted to Judaism because we had a wonderful rabbi, and I loved it. It was so much more compassionate than I found Catholicism to be, my exposure to it anyway, with beating nuns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, they just beat you with food in Judaism. We have more food.
And actually, that's very important, because a lot of times what happens is we just have Like I always say, I have lived in the cities where I might be the only representation of my part of the world.
Right.
So whatever I do, people will just assume, oh, the whole country is like that, the whole culture is like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's so true.
Mhm.
That for you, these nuns represented the Christian
Yeah.
perspective of Catholicism, or
Right.
Catholic tradition of Christianity.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm sorry you're not.
But it's okay, you know. It worked out well, and I don't practice Judaism anymore, but it's really through AA I found a really good spiritual connection, but that keeps me sober and really. It's funny. One time I was meditating, and things like meditation too. You know, I never really. It's funny. I poo-pooed yoga, you know, but because I thought it was all like Birkenstocks and granola, and here I am, you know.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when
yoga
did that
instructor.
enter your life?
That came in right as I was getting sober. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, right before I got sober
Uh-huh.
in 2020. I mean 1920. God, ages ago.
1920.
How do you like that?
Okay,
Let's
great.
try that again.
Yeah.
No, a while ago.
Yeah,
really,
that's better.
1990.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Good Lord, but it's been good. It's been 20 years.
So this group you found through a synagogue?
No.
Okay.
The AA group.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they just meet. They meet actually in a congregational church in the
Mm.
morning, so it's nice. But they'll meet anywhere, town halls and such.
But your experience with the rabbi you mentioned.
Yeah,
was very
he was
nice.
wonderful.
In what
Oh.
way?
He was just so. He was so human, just a really nice guy, so knowledgeable. I loved his stories. I loved his I don't really call it preaching, but he was really just a neat guy. I was absolutely enthralled with him. Super nice guy. That had a big push to it, and I really loved Tony's parents too. They were really, and they meant a lot to them. Kind of, my family was kind of like, oh,
She became a
oh
Jew.
no. Yeah, because when my mother grew up, my father told me that because your mother would be, you know, absolutely devastated if she knew, and I'm like, thanks, that really doesn't help. But she grew up in Brooklyn, and there was a lot of conflict between the really, not a lot of conflict, I guess she felt it as a child, between the strict Orthodox Jews nearby, and you know, just and that was a real conflict there. I remember her going, "Oh, Jewish people," you know, and it's like, oh God. But you know, any people, it's a shame that we have to put a name on it. It's just people can be rotten. I don't care where they're from. They can be wonderful too. So you know, it's not like they say, "Oh, people from America are wonderful," because not every one of them are. But yeah. Anyway, so that was interesting. But yeah, that rabbi was wonderful, neat guy, really.
I'm just curious, like, what's the when you accept or convert, if you will, to Judaism? So what's the ritual that's done?
There's real. I can't believe that it's eluding me right now. It's like a baptism.
Okay.
Yeah, you go to a proper pool where you can go in and you come out and you say.
Oh, like the Jesus baptism.
Yeah. Very much.
Okay.
Yeah, same
so they
thing.
do baptism.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
neat.
because Jesus was baptized, and he was a Jew.
Right. Yeah.
And then Christian traditions have various ways to baptize.
Right.
Sprinkling.
Sprinkling.
Catholic Church or
Right.
Baptist Church will.
Right. Really take it down.
So
yeah.
this is dunking, or you go
you
and
go
say
down
the
by
word?
yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
You sink down
And then you come out
Yeah,
and-
come up and say another line and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And do they say that? I know some of the Christian traditions. I would say, the pastor or priest guy will say, "Do you renounce the forces of evil?" And you say, "Yes, I do." Right?
No, this is all in Hebrew, so.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter.
Barakatah
Like,
Adonai,
whatever
you
you
know,
say.
blessed Lord. I don't remember the rest of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
So do you have to understand it, or just say it?
I understood it and said it, but I've forgotten it. Oops.
Or like there's a scene in the Godfather movie when the kid's baptism is being done, priest is asking all those questions, and then the people are killing.
Yeah.
Exactly, they're doing the opposite of
Right, at the
what
same
they're
time this guy-
professing, right?
Yeah.
So what a paradoxical
Mhm.
situation there.
Yeah.
Great. So after Tony, how did you meet your current husband?
Online, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What.com. We'll just boop, boop.
Match.com. Yeah.
All right.
It was Match.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna use that too.
Yeah. I dated a lot of turkeys before I met him. Oh my God. Some
That's what they
losers.
say. You gotta kiss a lot of frogs.
Yeah, you got to kiss a
before-
lot of
okay.
frogs and eels and snakes and
Mhm.
sorts of nasty things. But actually, I did fall in love with one gentleman before I met Mike, my current husband. Oh God, but I've never been lied to like that in my entire life. That man doesn't know how to tell a truth. It was unbelievable when I found out. I mean,
After how long did you find out?
about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it
But,
wasn't
yeah,
6 years.
no, that would have been
You
bad.
fell in love because of his...
He was.
flowering
Oh no, he was
language.
lovely and he was
Oh.
nice and he was just great and he treated me like a star and
Mm.
it was wonderful. Absolutely infatuated with the guy, and he was a race car driver and that was really kind of cool and and he was really into the horses and he learned to ride for a little bit and I mean it was great balance and
Mm.
we had so much fun. And then I found out, and this is through actually Facebook.
Mm.
And that's how toxic it can be because he told me about this other girl who was a friend of his.
Mm.
Well, the friend and him were doing more than friendships things. So,
Mm.
but and then I found out, got her name through somebody and looked on her Facebook page, and there's pictures of her with him and all this stuff. And
Mm.
weekends that he said that he was working, and he was working with her, and
Mm.
and so, and I asked him about it. Still couldn't tell me the truth. I was just like, you just.
Mm.
You're lie like a rug. I just get out of here. It was horrible. So I, left that whole scene for a few
So when
years.
you left to try to, not you tried
Mhm.
to, the demon inside us, go back to alcohol or
No,
something
thank
crazy.
goodness I didn't.
Okay,
Yeah, I
great.
didn't. But because I had good support, and that's the whole thing
Mm.
about that whole program is the support. Like with my friend who just recently passed, they got together and gave me money to help get down there. And that's unheard of. I've never
Yeah.
heard of a group doing that, but I'm really part of an incredible special group. But
And that's what
Yeah.
the church is actually. If
It-
you see the Greek word and the meaning behind that term, the community,
yeah.
and having that community, which is with you through thick and thin, is a
Unbelievable.
miracle. It's a
Oh,
blessing. Yeah.
Gosh, absolutely unbelievable. And it's nice to be there for them too.
Yeah.
I have good
Mhm.
friends, like this girl I sponsored. Her husband just had like 3 strokes last week. Yeah, it was crazy. But to be able to be there, and when I couldn't be there, another person from the group could be there for her. It's
Mm.
that's priceless. You can't
Mm.
buy that stuff. So
Mm.
it's beautiful. And it's all about us helping each other. And that's the way it
Mhm.
should be. I mean, I really think that's why we're here, to help each other.
But there are people
Not to-
like
not to
remember
kill each other.
You were sharing a particular. I'll let you share a particular town and community that if your money goes down, you don't have that kind of branded car or something, then people are not.
Yeah, they don't want
nice
anything to
you.
do with
Yeah.
you. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really shallow when you find that out. Because I had a farm at the same time for 20 years,
Mhm.
a beautiful farm. I loved it. But yeah, you'd see people like, oh, here's a perfect example. When I worked at Yale at the riding program, and I had a 2-horse trailer that was blue and white because I thought that's pretty cool. And I also had they had a big 8-horse rig, Yale, with the big Y on it. I went to one event, one horse, it was a hunting, for hunting. And I took one of my students from Yale. And we go there. Nobody talks to us at all. Nobody's like, "Who are those people?" Oh my God! Even though we were invited. And then next time I went with the 8-horse trailer, 7 students and myself. Hey, we're all over us. Oh my God! From Yale. My brother went to Yale. And I'm like, I was here 2 weeks ago, and you didn't even want to know my name.
Right.
And now you're fawning all over me. I'm like, you guys are so shallow.
Unfortunately, people who go to, most of them I have seen are very snooty and very unfriendly people or genuine who study at these Ivy League schools.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
just yeah. I ran the intercollegiate team. It was interesting. The different variety. There were some kids that really got there on scholarship, worked their asses off to be there, and they were usually the best ones I could rely on. The other ones who were they went to Yale because their father and grandfather were there. Yeah, they were just like half-assing with the whole thing. It was interesting. It's like doing something they had to do instead of like.
And
something
also,
they
I've
wanted
seen. Actually, it reminded me Northwestern University students who are doing all this physics and a lot of stuff that will change the world
Right.
or save the world or whatever term you want to use. But when at basic human level, they lack basic humanity skills of being human, like smiling, talking to somebody, saying hello, hey, how you doing, and all that. And they come across very awkward. And I've seen that when you stand there to get lunch,
Yeah.
a meal plan,
Right.
and you notice. I like to observe people, and it's just like could be wrong, but the vibes I got was just like weird. Same thing I noticed at NYU, that these kids who will become filmmakers and actors of the world, uh, because they got to, like, you played, say, a role that had nothing to do with real life. Sorry, that had to do a lot with real life, but it was nothing to do with you personally.
Right.
But you learn people's skills, and then you can act it out, right?
Yeah.
And but I wondered, like, okay, these kids, they don't say hello, hi, so privileged, and it's very expensive school, and I don't know, how will they
function out
there
Right.
and play a poor person's role, and all that stuff. Even if not poor person, what pain is, what suffering is.
Yes.
And some of us haven't been through that, because it's unfortunate. Some people, first of all, they would grow up as privileged as possible, and then they did not face any pain or other losing someone, for example, like yourself, or heartaches or heartbreaks. And I remember someone said to me once, I've never had a heartbreak.
Oh my God, really? Wow.
And that person was in early 30s then. So I was like, okay, wow, so good for you.
Yeah.
It hurts.